Good evening, one and all. Welcome to Red Barn Radio. This evening we continue forward in our 22nd year of broadcasting Red Barn Radio. My name is Bradford Becker, and we welcome you to show number 858 tonight. Our guest this evening on Red Barn Radio is Minor Gold. Minor Gold are Australian recording industry nominees Tracy McNeil and Dan Parsons, Canadian and Australian, respectively, if that matters to you. Minor Gold echo 70s cosmic Americana with an easy charm and potent honesty, and I know you're going to love the way two super pro singers make harmony work for a song. It's just intoxicating. I've had such a good time listening to their music. We're so glad to have you with us tonight. Tracy McNeil and Dan Parsons, won't you welcome Minor Gold for their first visit to Red Barn Stage.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Can you have them hold just 1 second?
Sure, hold 1 second. All right.
Such a pleasure to be here.
It certainly is. We're going to start off with a song called Mona Lisa, and this was our first single that we released off our debut album, which came out in August last year. This is a song about a friendship which you unfortunately notice is kind of failing. It's not working anymore, and you can leave it and pretend that everything's fine, or you can dare to look through the cracks and see what's on the other side. And this song kind of taps into that sort of feeling. It's a song called Mona Lisa. Looking at the stars, I saw a face, I thought it was the Mona Lisa. Everywhere I turn, I feel your eyes on me, but I can never reach you. And I'm not sure what I'll find between our laughter lines. You shine like gold when you've won. You found your place in the sun. And ain't it good for everyone? You break the ice beneath my feet. When you're on a losing streak, you know you're just being beat. You can't turn the other cheek. Find the words to say if I could know that you would take them as I meant them. I thought I saw a smile of something kind. Maybe I just dreamt it. And I'm not sure what I'll find if I dare to cross that line. You shine like gold when you've won. You found your place in the sun. And ain't it good for everyone? You break the ice beneath my feet. When you're on a losing streak, you know you're just being beat. You can't turn the
Looking at the stars, I saw a face, I thought it was the Mona Lisa. Looking at the stars, I saw a face, I thought it was the Mona Lisa.
Good evening and welcome to Red Barn Radio. Wherever in the world you're listening, welcome to Roots Music Southern Style. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn Radio's official radio partner, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Listen online at weku.org. Red Barn Radio is supported by Visit Lex, Lexington, Kentucky's Convention and Visitors Bureau. More information on what Lexington has to offer is at visitlex.com. LexArts, Lexington, Kentucky's premier cultural development, advocacy, and fundraising organization, working for the development of a strong and vibrant arts community as a means of enhancing the quality of life in Central Kentucky. Follow Red Barn Radio on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Here's the host of Red Barn Radio to tell us more about tonight's performers.
Minor Gold is our guest tonight on Red Barn Radio. Since releasing their critically acclaimed self-titled debut album in August of 23, the duo has been on the road, recently returning from a 30-date North American album tour with supports for the Teskey Brothers and an official showcase at AmericanaFEST in Nashville. Says Stephen Howlett from Americana UK webzine, this is the oral equivalent of an Ann Tyler novel. There are no gimmicks here, and a note is never wasted, just brilliant storytelling, tight, bright, and polished, and utterly captivating. I think you'll agree. And we welcome again Minor Gold to the Red Barn stage.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you. Yes, this is our second tour of the U.S. It's so great to be back here. 50 dates, I think, and counting, more like 60 in our Chevy Astro van across the country, and just touring these songs that were on this debut record. And we're just so glad to be here, alive in one piece. And this next song we're going to do is called Way with Words, and it's a track just really about that person that says exactly what you need to hear at the exact right time, that person that can lift you up when you really need some support. And it's just a fun little pop song. Here we go.
You can wake me from a bad dream, tied to tracks on the silver screen, but I ain't living in a movie. You help me to believe.
When my world's going under, you pull me into your thunder. The sand's shifting from below me. You help me to believe, 'cause you got away with words. Yeah.
When the night is never ending,
You can make it like a slow dance. Got me living in the moment. You help me to believe. When I'm tired of being down, don't wanna give up. Everybody's saying what I got ain't enough. Tired of this game and no way to win. You help me to believe when I'm falling again. 'Cause you got away with words. 'Cause you got away with words. From the bottom of the well, I pour the richest cup for a love I know so well, for a love I can't give up. 'Cause 'cause you got away with words, 'cause you got away with words, got away with words, got away with words,
Down, won't give up. Everybody's saying what I
got
gotta
away with
Tired of
words,
this game, you know where we You help me to believe when I fall.
got away with words,
You help me to believe.
got away with words,
You help me to believe.
got away with words,
You help me to believe.
got away with words.
You help me to believe.
Thank you.
Well, Tracy and I are a fairly new duo. We haven't been around for that long. Respectively, we've put out about 5 albums between us over the last, 10, 12 years, and always had a great time kind of singing and playing together. And we sort of wrote our first batch of songs around the sort of 2020, 2021, and we were all kind of locked up in Queensland, Australia, where we had fled to, which is where I'm from. My folks kindly opened their home to us. And these first songs for this first album, a lot of them were written out there in the beautiful countryside of Cedar Creek, Queensland. And not surprisingly, a fair few of the songs deal with escapism of some kind. Mental and emotional, physical, escaping. And this is one of the first songs that we wrote for the album. It's a song called Around the Bend. We like to pretend that we have control over our lives, human beings, but I don't know if we do. I think it all just
Not
sort of
sure.
happens. There's a song called Around the Bend. I was floating on my back like a leaf on a stream. Had my head in the clouds inside a dream. Don't wanna pick up the phone. Wish the world would leave me alone.
And nobody knows just where I go when I'm singing along to the radio. Don't wanna pick up the phone. Wish the world would leave me alone. 'Cause I ain't one to pretend. Don't care what's coming round the bend, around the bend, around the bend, around the bend, around the bend.
And I was following a river, town to town. I was driving through the night with the window down, and I got so far away, nothing's gonna reach me today.
And everybody's talking, they don't see I got my 2 feet right where they wanna be.
So I just sit and wait. The sun ain't gonna shine today.
It's okay,
'Cause I ain't one to pretend. 'cause I ain't one to pretend. Don't care what's coming round the bend, around 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 the bend. And I got so far away, 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 and I got so far away.
It's a breakup song you can boogie to. And we're hoping, we always joke at the end of 60 dates, it's not going to be our theme song, our summer theme song. It's a new song, and it's called Funny Feeling, and it's going to be on our record, our second record that we're going to make when we get out to California by July of this year.
Whoa, 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 baby, I got a funny feeling that we're coming undone. Whoa, 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 baby, I got a funny feeling that it's coming on strong. You can go where you're going, you can say what you want to say. Anytime the itch for leaving comes your way, don't delay. Whoa, 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 baby, I got a funny feeling that we're coming undone. Whoa, 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 baby, I got a funny feeling that it's coming on strong. You can find all the answers if you stare at the light too long. You can lose all the meaning saying words even when they're wrong. Whoa, 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 baby, I got a funny feeling that we're coming undone. Whoa, 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 baby, I got a funny feeling that it's coming on strong. Well, time has a funny way of making light of all the things that you know just ain't right. Gonna blow the whole thing open wide. Not a doubt inside my mind. You can take what you're taking. No one asked for you to leave it be. Sun will rise in the morning on the day that you leave. Whoa, 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 baby, I got a funny feeling that we're coming undone. got a funny feeling that we're coming undone. Whoa, 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 baby, I got a funny feeling that it's coming on strong. Thank you very much. Thank you. This is quite the experience for us, being in Lexington, Kentucky. Never thought we'd be here. Never thought we'd be on an amazing soundstage being filmed and playing for y'all. See, I'm picking up the lingo already.
That was pretty good.
Solid. Well, as I said, we were living with my folks for a while. They're great people, really good people. I'll give a shout out to them now. Dave and Di Parsons back in Cedar Creek, Queensland. We'll say a little hello to you.
They put up with us for quite a while,
They
so
did.
they are really great people. Yeah.
And we kind of like wrote songs in the bedroom while my parents were kind of omnipresent, like hanging around in the kitchen, in the living room, and so they got to hear the whole kind of progression of the songwriting. And this next one's one of my dad's favorites, which is saying something because it sounds A, nothing like Dire Straits, and B, it's he doesn't really give his opinion that much about stuff, so it was kind of a cool thing to have him like this one. In fact, around the time that we wrote this song, he had a birthday. He had his 70th birthday on the 28th of January. He's an Aquarius. And that morning, he actually had a stroke, which was terrifying. It was the first time anything kind of major had happened to him like that. And we live far away from the city, so it was a very long 45 minutes for my dad to get the ambulance that he needed. Anyway, they turned up, parked the ambulance in the driveway, and went up the paddock, through the long grass, into the house, saw that he was kind of okay, picked him up, took him downstairs, back through the grass, and it was all, as you can imagine, really super intense. Like, everything was happening, and it was like we weren't really sure what was going on. And they put him on a stretcher, and I had a moment alone with Dad just before they loaded him onto the ambulance. And I looked down at him, and he looked at me, and he said, "Can you believe this?" I said, "I know it. It's your birthday, and you had a stroke, and it's really super intense." And his eyes started to well up with water, and I was like, "Oh man, this is full on." And he said, "No, I'm asking you, can you believe this? Because like when they were taking me down the paddock, I got bitten by a bull ant on my big toe, and these bull ants are terrible. Like, the pain is just unbearable." So the poor guy had a stroke and then got bitten on the toe by a bull ant. So he's a trooper, and he's fine now. He's totally fine. Made a big recovery, and we love him. And we'll dedicate this one to him. This is a song called Cannonball for you. My working days are over, and I'm done playing by the rules. No more running on the wheel of fortune. No more running like a fool. And I saved a lot of silver when looking for a pot of gold. Found my way to something fine, something I couldn't hold. So tie me down to the cannonball and shoot me right out into space, and cut me loose in the stars shine, and let me fade away. dreams could have filled the ocean. I never could leave this one-horse town. I feel my feet lift off the ground. T-0 out. So tie me down to the cannonball. So shoot me right out into space and cut me loose in the stars shine and let me fade away. So tie me down to the cannonball and shoot me right out space and cut me loose in the stars shine and let me fade away and let me fade away and let me fade away.
If you're just joining us, our guest on Red Barn Radio tonight is Tracy McNeil and Dan Parsons. They have formed a duo. They've been singing together for a long time, but now they put out a record as a duo, and they call themselves Minor Gold. And the song that they just did was called Cannonball. And I'd love for you guys to just brag on Cannonball a little bit.
Well, we were very lucky. We won the Queensland Music Award it's the Folk Award for Best Folk Song. It's my first Queensland award. Dan's won a Queensland award before, but it was just a real honor. And I think we were in a Walmart parking lot when we got the news, so it was a very humbling way to find out that we'd won this award. But
we've been sleeping in a van over here. We got a Chevy Astro, which we kitted out with a bed in the back, and we're trying to make it work financially over here. So the Walmart car parks get a workout. It was pretty cool to wake up and get that news that we had in fact won.
So were you in Saratoga when that happened?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Because that's when I saw the sort of smiley reel you guys did in Saratoga, making that announcement, which is cool.
Yeah.
We were hanging out around the state park there, working on songs and filling up our water bottles with that beautiful spring water, and we just found out. Yeah, it was really good news, because we've been down making music a lot in Melbourne and Victoria down in Australia, and so this was our first time kind of up there making music in Queensland. So it was really great to be kind of honored up there in that state.
Yeah, very neat.
Yeah, it was cool.
Love that. Okay, good. So I want to go back to a couple of things you said about your dad. First of all, I'm glad things came out okay, and that he's feeling well now.
He's good.
That must have been just nuts for him. I mean, I can't imagine what was going through his head even before he was bit. It was by that whatever that ant is.
Bull ant, yeah. It was crazy, like full on for me as his son, because I haven't been home that much in the last 10 years. Living down in Victoria, that's 1,800 kilometers away. So I was glad that I was there for him. Mum was there and she was fantastic, but she needed to kind of get things together in that moment. So I was sitting with him when he had the second stroke. I watched his face sag, and it was just like full on. I thought for sure I was watching my dad kind of turn into what we would know him as for the rest of his life, whether I wasn't sure if he could walk or talk, or it was terrifying. But within 15 minutes it had all kind of come back into place, and miraculously he's kind of just like better than ever. Don't know how, but
yeah. Are you an only child?
I am.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that must have been amazing.
It was freaky. Yeah.
So, all right. So, then let's jump then quickly to the bull ant question. I'm trying to imagine what that is. This just like a small? Is this a small ant that packs a big punch, or
Yeah,
is
as
this
far
a
as,
big
like,
ant?
It's a bigger ant, yeah, and it packs a punch. Like, you get bitten as a kid on one of your limbs, leg or arm, and the venom or the poison, which isn't enough to do any real damage, it'll travel up your arm and it'll plant itself in the closest lymph node, and it just is very painful. So it's kind of like just adding insult to injury after you've had a stroke, to get something like that going on.
Yeah.
But my dad just thought it was so funny. Even in that moment, I had to admire his kind of his view on the whole thing, because he really had every right to be totally upset.
Well, maybe it just diverted him,
I think
from his situation, and
I think it did, yeah. I think it did.
Here in Kentucky, we have something called the brown recluse spider. Are you familiar with that? Have you ever heard stories about that?
Yes, I've heard about these things, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, nobody. I don't think people don't laugh, I think, when they get bit by those. I
No.
mean, it's not something that will tickle you.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
No.
it's not. It's more. It'll be more than a diversion.
Is it
Let's just
something
say
you need
that.
to go to the hospital for?
Yes.
Is it something we maybe need to
Oh, it's-
increase our health insurance while we're over here?
No, I think you'll be okay. Just make sure. Just make sure when you lay down at night that you. And what we recommend is that you take your pillowcases off of your pillows. Make sure you check inside of all your shoes and any small objects you have where a little bug could. I'm just joking. No, these are no, but they hide. They're reclusive.
Yeah.
So I call
Okay.
them recluse.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, sorry, just joking. But you also made a funny comment about your dad. You said he listened to. You talked about them listening as you all put songs together in the house, and that this was his favorite, even though it wasn't like it didn't sound like Mark Knopfler. So does this mean your dad's like a guitar hero guy? Is he a guitar worshiper, electric guitar worshiper? Did he want you to be Mark Knopfler?
It wouldn't have hurt if I had to become Mark Knopfler, but Dad's not so much a guitar hero. He just loves Mark Knopfler's style, loves everything about him, loves the songwriting, loves the guitar playing. Dad is like a real, he's a smooth cat, he likes things to be smooth and each note a pearl, So he's
Yeah,
not so
right.
into people that like play.
Shred.
Yeah, he's not really into the shredding. So he and I kind of differ there a little bit, because I do like a little bit of shredding. I do like some guitarists who can do that. But I think my guitar style and certainly initial influence was the stuff that my dad was into when I was, and my mum, but mostly my dad's his tastes were my tastes when I was younger.
Yeah, and what were some of the other things that he turned you on to?
I loved Jim Croce, loved Paul Simon, loved Carole King, like all the sort of 70s
Singers.
Sorry?
Singers.
But
Right.
Croce's a great guitar player,
Yeah.
and that was pretty cool to hear him do that. He actually liked some Peter, Paul, and Mary, but we never got played on the stereo very much. But I do know that he was like a big Peter, Paul, and Mary guy. Yeah. So just like the classic songwriters, like the sort of the ones that everyone has heard of. It took me until I was maybe 15, 16 years old to go delving past all that to sort of find my own tastes.
Huh.
But my parents sort of weren't searchers for the unknown sort of music, what was delivered to them in Australia by way of America and the UK was kind of what they got into.
So Dan, when you were 15, by the time you were 15, were you already deep into playing, and
Yeah.
had you become pretty good on the instrument?
Well, I'm a drummer first, so
Oh.
the drums was looking like that was what I was going to do. I made like I remember it now. I was 15. I was in grade 10, and I made like a pact, a pledge with myself that I'd be a professional musician.
At 15.
Yeah. I just kind of like bullheadedly kind of just made that statement within myself and to anyone who would listen to me. And I did, I guess. You know, for better or for worse, this is kind of what I've been doing since then. It was around that time too that I started playing guitar. My dad taught me a few chords, and the first song I learnt was Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard, and went from there because I wanted to write songs, so I just needed to get some chords under my fingers, and went on my way.
Yeah, and was college ever going to be in the mix for you?
I went to I did 3/4 of a music degree, which I did not excel at.
How come?
I wasn't there.
Oh, gotcha. Because you were doing this.
I was doing gigs, you know. I thought it would be a cool thing to do, to go to university and study music and meet like-minded people. And I met a lot of cool people actually. But as far as like getting something out of the course, I reckon I'd be better off doing it now. You know.
Did you go as a percussionist to study percussion, or
this just
music
goes to
theory,
show
or?
kind of how naive I was about like how I saw myself musically in conjunction with like an institution. Like I went there to study voice, you know, which I don't know why I did that, because I don't really consider myself a singer. I'm like a person who sings songs, but at the time I didn't consider myself a guitar player either. But they didn't have any kind of songwriting course, or for some reason I thought this was my best chance at like getting somewhere where I wasn't at that point. So I'm not too sure why I chose voice. It didn't stimulate me, and it didn't last very long.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to me that you don't consider yourself a singer. I'd like to drill down into that a little bit. No, it's just curious to me that you wouldn't call yourself a singer. You're certainly a. I'll just be outrageous here. You're certainly a better singer than Carole King. I mean, you have a beautiful, silky, clean voice you've got a lot of control.
Thank you.
It seems like you take care of your voice.
Try to.
I just think when I think about the people that you were raised on.
Yeah.
Simon, Croce, Carole King.
Yeah. James Taylor was definitely in there too, for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and he was a massive influence. He was like someone who I saw live. He came to Brisbane in 2002. Blew my mind.
Yeah.
Just seeing someone, do that. He had a small band, but he finished the show with an encore, and it was just him and a guitar, and it was like just the image of that and the way that he did that in his way. It was kind of like the blueprint, you know, in many ways, for what was possible.
And he was probably in his mid-60s at that point,
Yeah.
2002.
Yeah.
Yeah, what an amazing career he's had.
Oh, just amazing.
And that he survived is really kind of amazing.
It is.
Really,
It is.
you know.
Well, I think that both of us we'd both probably say that we don't think we're singers really. We kind of, first and foremost, we sort of identify as being songwriters who have managed to have voices that can blend well together. But yeah, it's funny how we see ourselves, you know, versus what the people see you as, you know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So Tracy, I wonder if we could go to you now and talk about. So, did you grow up in Montreal or in Quebec?
I grew up in Ontario. Grew up
Okay.
just outside of Toronto.
Yep.
On Lake Erie, little town called
Uh-huh.
Port Colborne. And listened to a lot of music around the house. But grew up a dance kid. Was a little
Yeah.
ballerina bunhead, 5 hours a night dancing 5 nights a week,
It's a big
teaching on
commitment.
the weekends, the whole deal, and came to music later in life when it was too hard to keep dancing, I think. So
yeah, and you were how old when you came to
I was
music?
27 when I
Yeah.
started playing music, and I'd written songs in university. I've always strummed a guitar, and Neil Young, Heart of Gold was the first song I learned. My stepdad taught me the chords. My dad, and then I'd go to my dad's, and he'd teach me some things. He was a musician, working musician.
So did your parents try to turn you on to like Canadiana music? I mean, is there such a thing called Canadiana? I mean, like that sort of draws on like Cape Breton fiddle, and we think of Americana, we draw on the blues
Yeah.
and Appalachian. Is there like
I reckon there must be. I mean, there's got to be kind
a
of
genre
a crossover.
called
There's-
Canadiana?
I haven't officially heard it, but I'm sure. I think you might have labeled it tonight here. But
Ooh.
yeah, I think that's It's got to be. There's so much of that influence from the East Coast Canada as well coming across. So, and I've been living in Australia for 20 years. So I feel like I'm coming back to my roots as we're touring across the States and dipping into Canada. And, you know, I kind of feel like I don't know what's going on here at the moment with Canadian music because I haven't been a part of the scene or, you know, like we're really...
So, but you grew up there. How long did you live there before you actually...
I came to Australia in 2007. So I did kind of went and did a dance degree at university in Toronto and did all that.
Yeah.
And was like the starving artist in the modern dance world, you know, applying for funding to pay my dancers versus now applying for funding to make records, you know.
Right.
Just kind of switched and fell in love with going to bluegrass nights and kind of coming back to music at 27. I started kind of getting in touch with something I'd known my whole life, with piano in the house, guitars around the house. My dad played in a cover band his whole life. That was his job, was a musician. And he was a huge influence on me. And my brother played music. My stepdad played music.
Oh,
Mom
wow.
was playing piano, but, you know, not professionally. So it was always there, just under the surface. And I feel like I reached a certain age and a certain time in my life pushing that dance boulder kind of uphill. I loved it. It was amazing. But I just started to get excited going to hear live music in Montreal. I was there dancing at the time. And started going out on Sunday nights to a bluegrass night and went, this is way more fun. This is wow. And it just kind of touched me in this deep way. And I thought, I'm going to try to write a country record. Let's just try, you know. And started writing songs and wrote my first record, moved to Toronto and cut it with my brother and put a little band together.
Dang.
Released it, and then 3 days later moved to Australia. So it was kind of like a whirlwind of entering music, something that was so deep in me for a long time, but I'd never, you know, was a closet singer, did a couple open mics, and so really felt really new.
Well,
But
what was deep in you musically? I mean, Dan was really shaped by folk. Were you also shaped by folk music?
same records in our household, definitely, but throw Fleetwood Mac in there, Neil Young, all the classics. My mom loved jazz, so she was also kind of into that. My dad was a huge country fan. Oh my gosh, it just, you know, I had the influences of indie music from Pavement and, you know, the Pixies and stuff from my brother as a skateboarder in the backyard with a half pipe in the backyard as a teenager. New wave, you know, I went into a new wave phase playing Depeche Mode on the piano, you know, with the shaved head and a mohawk, and, you know, it's so many different, didn't really matter genre, but just loved making music. But it always felt like something I would never see myself doing in a million years, like we are here, standing here together in Lexington, Kentucky. I can't even imagine. Yeah.
So, did your parents raise you on good Canadian music? Like, did you know all the Canadian stars? Did you know that Leonard Cohen was from there and that Bruce Cockburn was from there, and certainly Neil Young you did, but Joni
Yes.
Mitchell and
Gordon Lightfoot.
Rufus
Yes,
and Gordon Lightfoot and Rufus Wainwright, sort of by way of McGarrigles, I guess.
Knew that more through friends, I'd say, than my family. Like, not a single Joni Mitchell record in the house growing up. Gordon Lightfoot, stepdad loved Gordon Lightfoot, but he didn't come into the picture till I was a teenager. So it's, it was like, I didn't have those influences directly in my home because my parents weren't listening to them, you know. My mom liked Yes, there was a Yes record. You know, it was a bit Styx, it was a bit all over the shop, but the roots stuff, like I only say Neil Young because that's the record. She had heaps of Neil Young that I would sit on the living room floor on the carpet and just listen to over and over. But yeah, it was quite. It didn't have quite the breadth that you had, I guess, with the folks. Yeah.
Well, I think my parents were just very happy when I started listening to folk music, because before that, when I was into the drums, I was playing along to like a Rage Against the Machine and Primus and all these insane bands. Well, to my parents, they were insane, and I look back at it now and I'm like, oh man, I feel so bad. I used to blast those cassettes in the car all the time, and they were so patient with me.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah, they were stoked when the folk came on the on the stereo.
It's great when we converge and everybody's liking what we're all listening to in that
Yeah.
car, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's. I really want to talk about your band, Tracy, The Good Life, and how you all came together. But I think first I'd like to get back to some more music.
Sure.
Cool.
All right.
Well, we're going to do a song. As I was saying, my dad played in a cover band in the 80s, 70s, all through the 70s and early 80s. It's called Fargo, and great, like Eagles. That was another one, big one in our family, of course. And 7-piece band, killer harmonies, and made a really good living doing that. But he'd always was kind of, he'd be writing songs and these beautiful ballads, and he'd bring them to the band. And they'd be like, nah, we just want to rock out. Like, enough of these ballads, you know, write something that'll
His
rock.
own individual, say, personal
Yes,
stuff that he wrote. Gotcha.
Yeah, personal stuff. So fast forward to later in life, he's no longer doing music, but he really kind of knuckles down and starts writing a body of work, and wrote a record with like 13 songs on it, and just pretty much got it done and passed away in 2015. So yeah, it's something he'd worked on for about 10 years. And look, that's another long story. We'll need about 5 shows to cover it all, but I really tried to push to get it done and get it all. His guitar player was mixing it upstairs and trying to get track after track done. But it's a beautiful record full of beautiful songs, and we've decided actually to cut one of them. So this next one we'll do is one of my dad's. His name's Wayne McNeil, and it's called Over You. And we're gonna release this as a single at some point this year. And yeah, it's a beautiful love song about not being able to get over someone.
Wow.
Last night I thought I was over you, but here I sit now, feeling like a fool. I tried to tell myself, easy come and easy go. I thought I'd go out with some friends of mine, maybe have a laugh and share some wine. I was over you, and it was time for moving on. And then I saw you standing there beneath the stars, the moonlight shining on your hair. My knees grew weak when I tried to speak. The words weren't there. And I never knew that I could hurt this way. I always thought that I'd just slip away to catch a morning train or a plane in Timbuktu. And that's when I found out that I'm not over you. It seemed to hit me like a bolt from the blue. And I can't tell my heart what it is that we should do. And then I saw you standing there beneath the stars, the moonlight shining on your hair. My knees grew weak when I tried to speak. The words weren't there. I'm not over you. No, I'm not over you. No, I'm not over you. No, I'm not over you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Tracy comes from a really talented family, actually. Every single member is just pretty amazing at art, and yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. So I was super stoked to be able to listen to her father Wayne's work, and there's more where that came from. There's a lot of cool songs just waiting to get recorded, so we can't wait to get our hands on some more of those. In fact, the first time I played that song back in 2019, I had a little band with me. My buddies Bree and Alex were playing drums and bass with me, and they sat down for that song, and I played it on my own. And after the concert, Alex told me that just as I started playing that song, a dragonfly came into the room. It was a sealed room, no windows, no, it wasn't outside. And this thing just landed on my shoulder, and I played the whole song, and right at the end, the last chord rings out, and this thing just ups and flies away. It stayed there the whole time, and yeah, it was pretty special.
It's Dad making sure
Didn't mess it up.
didn't mess it up.
We're going to do a song called Don't Change for you. This is a song about those people that you meet, the rare people you meet who they just came out perfect, came out really good, and no changes needed. You're true, you're so kind, and I feel free, and I see the road so far and wide, hearts on the run, stars in the sky shining on you and me. You smile, and I smile, you make it real. I was living all alone in a dirty bungalow, killing time, just waiting in line. Had too many words and not enough rhymes. Waking up thinking of you. Don't change, don't change, don't change. Yeah, no, I won't apologize for feeling free. I couldn't let it go by, laid it all on the line. I met you on high at the sweet by and by, where everywhere I looked saw the chances I took, like a page from a book, dreaming about making love to you. Don't change, don't change, don't change. You're true, so kind. You got broken eyes, but I don't see you around corners. All I know is east to west, north and south. It's an educated guess. All of my virtues and all of my charms never could stop me from getting it wrong, but I can get it right with you.
Don't change. Don't change. Don't change. Don't change. You're true, so kind.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers.
So we've been, in March, we went to Canada and rented a little cabin in rural Ontario, 15 minutes from my family home. And it's nice to be close to family, but not with family the whole time. But we did get to spend lots of time with them, which is a real treat for me, having lived in Australia for so long.
It was pretty cool actually, because our name, Minor Gold, comes from our mother's maiden names. So Tracy's mother, Mary Lou Minor, her family of German ancestry, they came over from Germany in 1800, or maybe the late 1700s or something like that, to Canada. And where our little rented cabin was about 2 doors down, unbeknownst to us, from the original Minor homestead, which was pretty cool to be, be in good company, family.
The first log cabin built, and they'd owned all the land in that area, so effectively we were on that original land that they would have owned back in the day. But we didn't know, we just rented it on Airbnb. It looked good, had a little hot tub and a fireplace. We're like, what else do you need to write songs for a month? And it was really cool. And then on the last day, we met the woman who owned the house, and she knew nothing of any of this history. But and it's apparently a really haunted house, which is cool, because I knew someone in high school that used to live there. So we were hoping to get a tour, like get in and, I don't know, see if we could feel any weird energy. But it was cool. So hopefully that's that history there is kind of sunken in at some point throughout the month.
No doubt it's part of the record somehow.
And this next one we're going to do is going to be on that record, and it's called Love is a Killer. And what do you want to say about this? What do we say about Love is a Killer?
Love can break your heart. And someone wise once said that. Only love can break your heart. Yeah, that's right.
Someone Canadian said that. I think the things you love can break your heart as well. It doesn't have to be a person.
In the bottom of a drawer there's an old sweatshirt. Smells like you ripped and burned. I stretch it over my head till it covers my knees. Broken glass lets in the breeze. In the middle of a dream in an empty house, there's still a light that won't go out. See a door wide open but I can't walk in. I'm like a bird at the window with a broken wing, waiting on the sign, waiting on the rain to let in the light, let up again. Waiting on myself to make a change, learn to run wild on my own again. Love is a killer. Top of a mountain there's a hill to climb. Wish I could tip it all over, put it in decline. But falling ain't free and I never could fly. All all this waiting on your love's just a waste of time. I turn myself in, turn myself on, shake your ghost from these four walls. I'm stuck like glue to your shadow dance, swirling me around till I'm in a trance. Love is a killer, and it cuts to the bone. Love is a killer and it cuts to the bone. You just stand and watch it swallow you whole. You can't put it down, too heavy to hold. If I could quit you, baby, and the horse you rode in on.
Well, folks, we've got lots more music and conversation with Tracy McNeil and Dan Parsons, Minor Gold, coming up. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our guest for next week, though. Her name is Nolene Hoffman. From bittersweet ballad to gritty barn burner, Nolene brings the glowing expanse of the plains to the stage. As observed by Music Easy and Whiskey Riff, Nolene walks the walk and talks the talk. Between a history of working in honky-tonks and punching cattle across the Canadian prairies, her sage songwriting and live show have garnered great attention from fast-growing audiences across the country and beyond. The trajectory of Nolene Hoffman's acclaim straight out of the gate, I think, points toward a road ahead that's chock full of stage lights and marquee signs. The making of a prominent new voice in the alternate country music soundscape. We're really glad she's going to be with us. Join us next week on Red Barn Radio for an evening of music and conversation with Nolene Hoffman in studio and on Red Barn Radio's live stream, 7 p.m. Eastern in North America. Now back to tonight's Red Barn Radio program. We welcome you live on our social media platforms, broadcasting from the Arts Place Performance Hall here in the horse capital of the world, Lexington, Kentucky. Welcome back, Minor Gold.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Alrighty. Tumbleweed. We'll do a traveling song. Yeah. People will. Yeah.
It's pretty big, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Another new one for you folks.
This one's about a very well-meaning but insane young man who is trying to find love with someone who doesn't know he exists. And the woman of his dreams is a girl called Peggy. And thus sprang the title for this here song. It's a song called Pretty Peggy.
I've been running down a one-way, running a one-track mind, dreaming dizzy in the sunshine, trying to make Peggy mine. I carved her name in the canyon with a belly full of orange wine. Romance is never easy when you're holding up the only side. Pretty Peggy, pretty pretty Peggy. Pretty Peggy. Pretty, pretty Peggy. Oh, you know she got the faraway look. Seems like she don't care. But people try to wind me up and say she don't know why I'm breathing air. I threw a penny on the wishing well, called her on the party line. Wanna tell her just how I feel, but I'm running out of time. Pretty Peggy, pretty, pretty Peggy. Pretty Peggy, pretty, pretty Peggy. Oh, yeah. I've been running down a one-way, running a one-track mind, dreaming dizzy in the sunshine, trying to make Peggy mine. I got lost in the canyon with a belly full of orange wine. Romance is never easy, and I'll never get out alive. Pretty Peggy, pretty, pretty Peggy. Pretty Peggy, pretty, pretty Peggy. Pretty Peggy, pretty, pretty Peggy. Pretty Peggy, pretty, pretty Peggy, oh yeah.
Alrighty. While we're on the track of the new songs, we wrote this next one on the highway late at night with a full moon over our heads somewhere down in Victoria in Australia. And then we finished it somewhere in British Columbia, Canada. So it's trans-Pacific songwriting. It's a song about grief. We meet a lot of people on the road, and you know, you lose people. We've lost people in our lives, and we talk to people that have lost people, and it's a universal thing we go through, grief and grieving. And we thought we'd try to write something on that.
Actually, Tracy writes a lot of songs by singing into her phone. She's also had a lot of car accidents doing this.
Yes, I have.
But this was an idea that came from Tracy singing into her phone, and we were going through her voice recordings one day, just seeing what we could find, and this was one that just it was like a minute and a half into a 6-minute recording, and the melody just was there, and it was just this ghostly recording. You could hear the engine whirring beneath the vocal, and it was just a sketch, but it was enough for both of us to go, hey, we should try and do something with that. And I think where you had the idea in the car at night really informed what the song was about. So this is called Moonlight Silver Highway.
Moonlight silver highway, I find you in my dreams, in the half-light shadow in the sleepy drone, you're keeping me company. Moonlight silver highway. It hasn't even been a year. You burned so heavy, but you lost a light like a broken chandelier. Keep moving out of range, trying to turn a page, look at something different, feel a little change, but the tide keeps pulling me in. Moonlight, silver highway, slowly making ground, but every day in a father's face, it feels like you're still around. Moonlight, silver highway, never gonna say goodbye. I wanna put you in my pocket and just pretend I'm keeping you alive. Keep moving out of range, trying to turn a page, look at something different, feel a little change, but the tide keeps pulling me in. And I'm trying to leave this town once again. Keep moving out of range, trying to turn a page, look at something different, feel a little change, but the tide keeps pulling me in. Keep moving out of range, trying to turn a page, look at something different, but everything's the same and the tide keeps pulling me in. Yeah, the tide keeps pulling me in. And it's trying to leave this town once again. Moonlight, silver highway, I find you in my dreams, in the half-light shadow of the sleepy drone, you're keeping me company.
Thank you very much, thank you. I'm going to do a traveling song now. This is a song, actually, we wrote this song shortly before going on tour in America for the first time, excuse me. And we stayed at a lot of KOA campgrounds, and we happened to meet a couple of veterans, Vietnam vets, and they were lovely guys. Dick and Harry, literally, from Nebraska and Colorado, respectively, and they sort of were the characters in this song that we wrote. Two people on some kind of long jaunt, traveling together, both choosing every day to kind of stick together and finish the journey until one of them in our song decides to kind of go home or go somewhere else. But these two guys reminded us of the characters that we created in this song called Tumbleweed. So we'll send this one out to Dick and Harold, wherever they are listening from.
They used to meet up every year. I think they did it for like 30 years.
Yeah.
They meet up at the same time every year, and they go on this motorcycle trip, and then they say, see you later. See you next year, buddy, you know? And yeah, beautiful. We also sold them a CD in the campground. That was cool, because that paid for our campsite, so it was a financially fortunate as well, but really lovely guys. A song called Tumbleweed.
You meet a lot of cool people over here. This is a great country, and we're super stoked to be here. Yeah, it's been a real dream to be able to make music in America and meet a lot of people. So this one's for all the people we've met traveling.
wave goodbye to my old friend. Sad to say that our tale has reached the end. Been together from east to west, north and south, no fixed address. So alive. When summer came, we took a drive. Worn out shoes don't bring the blues to the living kind. Gambled on a chance to leave, floating on a desert breeze, rolling like a tumbleweed. Time rolls by, shifting like the seasons. One hearts fly without any reason. Years go by, rolling like a tumbleweed. Changing winds, another road, another door. Time will come. You said he'd leave by the winter thaw. The ice didn't melt. He said I'll see ya, and he thumbed a ride on an 18-wheeler. Now he's rolling like a tumbleweed. Time rolls by, shifting like the seasons. Young hearts fly without any reason. Years go by, rolling like a tumbleweed. Rolling like a tumbleweed.
That was awesome how you knocked that camera right in your last stroke on the instrument. That was great.
Bam.
Do we need to readjust the camera?
Sorry.
Very rock and
A
roll.
little taste of Australia. Bam.
That's right. Well, I do want to talk a little bit about the Tracy McNeil and the Good Life project, because do I get this right? Is that what you all did together musically first?
Yeah, that's right. So
Okay.
yeah, we each kind of made our own records, and I had a band, Tracy McNeil The Good Life, and I lost my guitar player right before an album launch back in 2014
In Canada?
in Australia.
Oh, you were in Australia at that point.
in Australia.
He didn't die or anything. He's
No.
He didn't.
Okay, well, I was.
He
yeah.
went on to greener pastures.
Oh, okay.
He got picked up by someone else, and he said, "Oh, Trace, I got to do this." And it's like, of course you got to do this. And so I needed a guitarist to launch my record at the time. It was my fourth studio record, I think. And my drummer, Bree Hartley, amazing drummer, she had played with Dan on another project at a live show and said, I met this great guitar. Dan was playing guitar at the time. Said, I met this great guitarist, this Dan Parsons guy. We got to look him up and see if we can have a jam, because the time has come. We need another guitarist.
You needed an electric guitarist?
I need an electric lead,
Okay,
lead
right.
guitarist.
Okay.
The rest is history. He came over for one jam to learn the songs, hired on to just go, hey, let's do a jam, and then if this works out and you're into it, we're into it. Let's do the album launch, an album tour, a national tour in Australia, and it was just magic, like from the beginning. He was singing harmonies. He learned all the parts, and it just slotted right in. And you joined that band. You joined the band in 2014, and we played together for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Made other records, and yeah.
So were you guys
Yeah.
involved right at the front end of all that, or was it that just sort of grow? Your
No,
relationship was kinda
we
grow over
both had
time?
our own things going on.
Yeah.
And it was very Fleetwood Mac, if anyone knows the story.
Oh, yes.
It's a bit of craziness, you know. We were both in other, relationships and all kinds of things. So it wasn't till later on that we finally got together as a couple. But so we hadn't written together. We just were playing in a band together for 5 years. And but there was always a real great chemistry there, and we're really good friends, and loved playing together, and thought one day
Yeah.
it'd be cool if we could write together. So that's kind of how that all happened.
Nice.
And we moved a few mountains, and things had to deconstruct. But moving forward, I think this has been so freeing for us.
Yeah.
Really. It's been really cool.
It allows us to have a vehicle, to move forward together, putting fuel into the same engine, because I've been making my own music since I was about 15, and trying to maintain a relationship of any kind when you're on the road constantly in separate tours is challenging. So this works out well as being something creatively which really fills us up.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a vehicle that you both fuel up, the one you live in right now, tell us about that. I'm trying to imagine how that works. You keep that here?
Yeah, we
Okay.
have a couple of really good, generous friends, Christine Lyons on the East Coast and Sarah Start on the West. And the last tour we did was from west to east, so we housed the vehicle in Christine's garage in Toronto. And now we've gone from east. We're going to go from east to west. So Sarah will store our vehicle on the west coast while we go to England and Europe and maybe Australia. But it's not a great way to tour, unfortunately. Like it's a long way. Like it's a very long way to tour, and it's not economical. Really, it makes no sense. But I think we'll have to find another way of doing that in the future. But for now, it works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you this is your second time around.
Yeah.
And so tell us what are your impressions? You mentioned earlier just how it contrasts with Australia, which is green around the border and brown in the middle, and here you just see a lot of green.
Green all the way through. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty stark contrast for sure. Like, most Australians live around the coastline. The interior is very harsh. It's a harsh beauty. But our Indigenous people, they made it work. They were able to live fruitfully throughout the interior. It's just after colonization, the Europeans couldn't work it out. So most people live on the coast. But musically speaking, there is nothing like America, the US and Canada as well. Like a lot of our influences come from here. So I've always wanted to get over to the States and be able to be part of the scene or to work here. And it's a very kind of North American sounding music. I mean, there are Australian stories in there, just by way of me being an Australian and Tracy also having such a unique Australian experience being there for 20 years. But largely, I'd say our music really does go down well over here in the States.
I think geographically too, you can drive for 20 minutes and you're at another venue, whereas Australia and Canada are very similar in that
I
you've got to
suppose,
drive
yeah.
a long way to get to the next venue. So the fruitful thing over here, it's economic. It's what's the word? It's efficient, you know. And there's a lot of work to be done. We're just scratching the surface here. There's just town after town after town. You could just keep working all the way across, where you couldn't. Canada, I don't know. You've got to drive a lot further, and definitely Australia, you've got to drive a lot further. Show
Well,
to show.
yeah, because you're in when I think of Canada, I think you're just going east to west.
Yeah.
You're not like, it's not like you're going to go northward.
Well,
in
yeah. No,
Canada.
I mean, it'd be a pretty.
Better be a good gig.
Yeah, right.
It better be a good gig. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I find that we actually haven't toured a lot in Canada. We did across Canada in 2019 with our solo projects, but just touring together. Definitely want to tour more in Canada and have done Toronto and surrounding areas, and British Columbia, we've done quite a bit over there. But we're predominantly focusing on the States with these visas, so
Yeah.
yeah, we're loving it.
So the next song you're going to do is called "Note to Self," and when I think of I listened to the song. I listened to the song once today, once without distraction, and then the other time I was kind of distracted doing things. But I think of "Notes to Self" as being sort of important, important thing that you want to remember. You want to make sure you give yourself a note so you don't forget it, because you might not have it. It's critical that you remember it.
Yeah.
I wonder if you guys could talk a little bit about just some of the, if this is not too personal, some of the notes to self that you guys make as you travel together, because it seems while it would be very gratifying as a couple, like you say, to be both sort of fueling the same machine together, it could also be wrought with challenges. So what do you fight about? No, I mean, yeah. What are some things that you remind yourself of that help you take care of yourselves and help you take care of your relationship? Build that into your routine.
It's a good question. We're learning that.
Yeah.
Like, we've been doing this professionally for a long time, but never quite as intensely as this, where we're together every day. Going through a myriad of all the regular emotions that you go through as a human being on planet Earth, but it's compounded by performing and managing your expectations and your ambitions. Like the ambition, I think, is the thing that can kind of overtake you or overtake your relationship if you don't put it where it belongs. There's a time and place for you to bring it out into the light, and let the motivation or let the ambition take you to the next signpost, of your career, or the next thing you want to do creatively. But if you leave it out, like if you let it guide you all the time, I think it can turn on you, or it can kind of put things out of balance. So that's been a big thing for us, is to kind of like make sure that we wake up one day and just don't look at the phone. Don't compare yourselves to your peers or what other people are doing in the world. It's easy to do that with being, no more than a foot away from a screen at any one time. So that's been a big thing, and it works. When you have some distance from it, all of us, it's scarily so, life kind of comes into focus, like priorities come into focus, and it's nice when that happens, but it's very, very easy when it's an everyday thing, from waking up to going to bed. Whether you're writing, you're driving, you're performing, you're kind of either at a gig or after a gig, you're kind of you're talking to people. It can be exhausting, so you've kind of got to learned how to tour, how to kind of take care of your mental health. I would say for us, a big one is like just regulating how much of a good time we have, like not staying up till 4 a.m.
Gotcha.
Every night after a gig. That's the first place that you stop. You kind
People
of
invite you over,
Yeah.
hang out, jam.
I mean, it's so tempting. I love having a good time.
Yeah, sure.
I love having a good. So does Tracy. So
Yeah,
it's
we
like
do.
we got to kind of we've been learning how to be kind of responsible adults.
It's true, and I think, like you'd said, putting our ambition where it belongs. It's kind of like the bratty kid or something coming along. You kind of, that's maybe a bad analogy, but you really do have to kind of put it where it belongs. And I think every day we remind each other to not sweat this, the small stuff. And because the small stuff can become mountains, and you just go, this is nuts. Like, let's just enjoy our coffee and look out the window, and, and I think physical health, we have a gym membership, which is how we shower at Anytime Fitness. So we pay our $20 a week each.
YMCA?
We're at Anytime Fitness, so
It's very similar to a Y. It's like, it's a gym, but they have like every single one is guaranteed 2, 3 or 4 different showers. And they're all really of a really good standard, good quality.
Oh, so it's not web-based then? No.
and they're all over the world, which is cool.
They're everywhere. So
Oh, that's pretty
Open
neat.
24 hours.
Never heard of that before.
that's sort of how we do it. Like I built a bed in the back of the van, which is actually very comfortable. It's amazing how fast you kind of get used to that, and how quickly you find it actually is comfortable. Like, there have been instances where very kind people have said, hey, leave the van behind, come and stay at my house. And we actually say, we're actually comfortable in the van, so thank you, but we'll get back in our Chevy Astro,
Yeah.
But yeah, you wouldn't think that'd be the case, but it's amazing what you get comfortable with,
And making time for physical health, like the gym. The last tour, we literally ate at Cracker Barrel and went to the gym and showered. This time, we're avoiding Cracker Barrel.
Good.
Because you can get a lot of food for really cheap there. We're avoiding Cracker Barrel, but we're going to the gym. We're actually working out. So we have that mental, that physical, we're taking care of our mental and physical well-being, which is so crucial. Like, in the car 8 hours a day, our backs, our hips, everything, and the weird kind of ergonomics of playing an instrument every night. So we find that's a great time alone. Dan does his thing, I do my thing. We've got like an hour and a half in the gym, and then we shower, we're ready to go, get back in the car, and that saves our lives, I think.
Yeah. Tracy, you
road.
still do movement?
Sorry?
You still do movement?
I'm moving in the gym, and I'm moving on stage.
I see that. I was noting
I wish I
that.
could move more, but because we do this configuration around the mics, it keeps you
Hunkered
kind of have
down
to,
around,
you're
right,
married
yeah.
to the distance between the microphone. But yeah, it definitely, I wish I could move more, yeah.
I think the main note to self is just choose love, choose love over fear. Because if you choose fear, it takes you to some really weird and really dumb places.
Yeah.
Love is the answer. As corny as that sounds, it takes you to a better place eventually, or immediately.
A lot of true things are corny.
It's
Yeah,
true.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what Note to Self, the song you're going to play now, is? Okay, is that sort of the message of that, or what is the note to self in this song?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is choosing love over fear. The song definitely goes into a situational sort of a thing about going to a party where it just, basically you were just very scared, of the situation that you were in. Not in a physical sense, but like a mental kind of emotional, sort of anxious sort of mindset. And it's about fleeing and just getting the hell out of there and being on your own. And the chorus sort of talks about the idea of remembering not to do things that make you feel ill or sick or kind of don't put yourself in a compromising position. That's the note to self. That in itself, I suppose, sounds like you're choosing fear because you're running away from something, but I think it is love in the end. Really a song just for sort of social anxiety, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get back to some music with Minor Gold on Red Barn Radio.
Didn't tell them I was leaving. I slipped away down the hall, out under the starry ceiling.
was going, gone. And oh, they make it look so easy, knowing what to do and say. Blow out the candles. I wish that I was far away. Well, why did I go out tonight? Even though I said I don't feel like it. Scrawl it on my head, ring that bell. Paranoid and wound up tight, trying hard not to fight it. Remember how this feels, note to self. I try and listen for an entrance, and I try to keep it straight, but I'm so tired of trying. The exit's all I make. Well, why did I go out tonight? Even though I said I don't feel like it. Scrawl it on my head, ring that bell. Paranoid and wound up tight, trying hard not to fight it. Remember how this feels, note to self. Well, why did I go out tonight? Even though I said I don't feel like it. Scroll it on my head, ring that bell. Paranoid, wound up tight, trying hard not to fight it. Remember how this feels, note to self.
Thank you. Sometimes love gets it wrong. This is called Wrong Side of Love.
Catalyst for danger, you twist it every turn. Scaling the walls, you torch the last bridge unburned. The man behind your eyes just calls the wild inside you now. You used to pray to something, but it only let you down.
Voices in the ceiling, faces in your mind, stumbling through a dark so deep. On a hill too high, on a hill too high to climb. On the wrong side, love, and you're hanging by a thread. On the wrong side, love, and you're hanging by a thread. On the wrong side, love, and you're hanging by a thread. You're hanging on to the wrong side of love that's dead.
You swear it's with intention, she moves across the room. You dream of ways to make her hold a place in time for you. By sunrise, she'll wake to find the light that's in her eyes.
Just red tears running fast and thick down a hill too high to climb. Voices in the ceiling, faces in your mind, stumbling through a dark so deep. On a hill too high, on a hill too high to climb. On the wrong side, love, when you're hanging by a thread. On the wrong side, love, when you're hanging by a thread. On the wrong side, love, when you're hanging by a thread. You're hanging on to the wrong side of love that's dead.
It's dead.
On the wrong side of love and you're hanging by a thread. On the wrong side of love and you're hanging by a thread. On the wrong side of love and you're hanging by a thread. You're hanging on to the wrong side. To the wrong side of a love that's dead. Just like old saxophone Joe, when he's got the hawk sit up on his stove. Want me on my, love that country pie. But listen to the fiddler play, or when he's playing till the break of day. Want me on my, love that country pie.
Raspberry, strawberry, lemon, and lime. What do I care? Blueberry, apple, cherry, pumpkin, and plum. Call me for dinner, honey, I'll be there.
Saddle me up my big white goose, with Tommy on her and turn it loose. Want me on my, love that country pie.
I don't need much, that ain't no lie. I ain't running any race. Give to me my country pie. I won't throw it up in anybody's face.
Well, shake me up that old peach tree. With little Jack Horner got nothing on me. Want me on my, love that country pie.
Well, there are many people to thank for our broadcast. First, Tracy McNeil and Dan Parsons, Minor Gold, our guest on tonight's program. Thanks to WEKU, Red Barn's premier radio partner, Central and Eastern Kentucky's radio news leader. You can listen online at weku.org. It's your chance to hear more great live music from Red Barn Radio and WEKU, NPR for Central and Eastern Kentucky. Those of you here in Central Kentucky, you got to be sure to check out Red Barn TV. It's our weekly program of music, now on ABC 36 WTVQ. Red Barn Radio comes to you from our home, the Arts Place Performance Hall in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Our website has updates and further information on our guests in our program. We're on the web at redbarnradio.com. Now, before we close out tonight's program, let's bring back Minor Gold for one more number.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. This has been a blast. We're going to try a song that's unexpected for us, but you want to talk about this one?
This one goes out to a gentleman called Adrian Slattery, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. He passed away as a young man. I think he was 32. A friend of mine and a friend of many people back in Melbourne. A great songwriter and a musician. Excuse me. And around the time he passed away, his band Big Smoke made a great album, and that was all timed very poorly. The band was just started to do really well when he got his diagnosis, and a lot of the guys in the band banded together and brought it home. Made a great record. Our buddy Alex O'Gorman flew overseas to Los Angeles to get it mixed by a great mixer called Sean Everett, and no expense was spared and no distance was too far, and it's a beloved album. It's called Time is Golden. I suggest anybody out there check it out. They made one album, but it's a damn good one. And I wrote this song for Adrian a long time ago, and it's just a song of regret, really. And it's it may find its way onto an album we make at some point, but for now it's just part of our live performance set. This is a song called If I Knew Then. Thank you so much to all involved. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I'm sorry, I didn't know. I'm sorry, didn't come along to your show. If I knew then what I know now, I would've called you up, could've had that round. I was someplace else, I guess I'll see you round. But time has passed and the joke's on me. Now you're someplace else and the drinks are free. I'm sorry, I didn't know. I'm sorry it didn't come along to your show. If I knew then what I know now, I would have driven over, we could have played some songs, rolled a joint, put the Eagles on. You were on the rise, you were on the up. I didn't have it in me to fill your cup. I'm sorry I didn't know. I'm sorry it didn't come along to your show. If I knew then what I know now, you were killing it while it was killing you. You were killing it while it was killing you. You were killing it while it was killing you. You were killing it while it was killing you. Like a silver ocean that hides a rip, like a mainsail filled on a sinking ship. Thank you.
Pretty. Well, that's all for our show for this week. You can see and hear Red Barn Radio worldwide as we stream live on the web on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern in North America. And it's always terrific to hear from all of you who listen to Red Barn Radio's archived performances on your favorite streaming platforms. Speaking of you listeners, please, before, during, or after you enjoy Red Barn Radio, take just a moment to engage with us, whether it's by commenting, by sharing, or subscribing to our newsletter. It all means a lot to us. It'll keep us growing and continuing our mission to bring roots music Southern style to your neck of the woods and beyond. And now we bid you good night. Let's stick together, let's appreciate each other, and let's join up again next week for another great evening of music and conversation on Red Barn Radio. I'm Bradford Becker, the host of Red Barn Radio. See you next time.